All right, we are live. Welcome to the Paste Happiest Hour. I've got Taylor Goldsmith from Dawes today. So good to have you, Taylor.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So you are in Los Angeles. I'm in Atlanta. We're going to do this over the internet.
Yeah.
I was looking earlier today. I think you guys may hold the record for most Paste sessions of some kind or another between Day Trotter and all the Paste parties, Day Trotter
So
parties, everything
cool.
you've done.
That's really cool. I didn't realize that.
I mean, I haven't counted, but I think it's pretty safe to say. So, you guys would normally be on tour right now. You got to do something pretty cool earlier this year, playing with Phil Lesh, being his
Yeah.
band.
Yeah, this whole thing, I mean, there's a million things that all of us have lost or had to sacrifice and but this all came this all came crashing down right uh and in the week where we were actually supposed to play with Phil Lesh at the Capitol Theater for one of his 80th shows. And we were really excited for that. I had practiced a lot because a lot of those songs were really hard. And we were in New York for that week of like March 15th or whatever that was. We were there because we were playing Fallon as my wife's band. And then we were going to go up to Capitol Theater and play with Phil Lesh. And and it was weird because that week, it just one thing kind of fell at a time. It was like, oh, are we gonna still do this one thing? Is this Phil show happening? And on Monday, it was definitely for sure. By Tuesday, it was like, we think so. By Thursday, it was probably not. And it's just so interesting to watch unfold, as we all did. But anyway, it was really fun that we got to at least have those small shows up in Northern California as sort of our practice with him. And we're hoping that when all this is over, maybe we'll get to reschedule those birthday shows.
That's all. That's cool that you got to do that. I'm sorry that the big show got canceled, as so many things did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of people had a lot more important things get canceled, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah, so in 11 years of doing this, you guys have gotten some pretty cool gigs playing with Jackson Brown, Phil Lesh. How does stuff like that seem to come about?
I don't know. I think to some degree, it's like when the first version of that happens, then it's sort of like, oh, they're the band that does that thing, and then it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, which we're happy about. We've always wanted to be that way. Like when we first started, we would be the backing band for the opening band or the headlining band, depending on the kind of bill it was. Like we went out with M. Ward, and we were his band, and as well as open for him. We went out with Connor Oberst, did the same thing. But then other friends of ours like Johnny Fritz or the Romney Rye, we backed them up and then came and did the show by ourselves. So that sort of thing has always been something that we wanted to maintain because it's kind of kept us learning, and through the years, like finding new ways to still be the backup band for folks.
Well, it's been a couple years since we've had a new album, but we did have a fun little release that you guys put out in the world recently. I Will Run. I love the video with all the dogs. If our viewers haven't seen this, you've got to check out the video after this.
Yeah.
I Will Run, and just so many wonderful dogs in that video.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a song that was recorded during the password sessions. It was like we kind of had narrowed down the record to these 11 songs, and we just thought like, well, this one 6-minute song about dogs running away is cool, but maybe like shouldn't take up that much real estate on this record that's otherwise not really about that. So we ended up just feeling like, it doesn't belong on this record, but that always like hurt, that always kind of stung to not have that song out in the world. So it felt like, at a time like this, getting a song like that where you get this, look at dogs looking cute. It's something I would look at my phone for. I mean, a lot of things, we don't want to engage with, but hopefully dogs are still one of the things that are, you know, worth scrolling for.
It did feel like there should be more music videos featuring just a bunch of dogs. So,
Yeah.
so what are you going to play for us first today?
I think I'm gonna play our song called "Something in Common."
Great.
my mornings start with the alarm clock. Every dream gets stopped before the end. And with each bit I remember, the more the details run together. And I'm left with a message I don't comprehend. I lost contact with the great beyond again. And as I stare over my breakfast and out into the street, I find that sorrow I've been chasing way too often. That the man that stands in front of you is not the sum of all his dreams. But I'm hoping they got something in common. I'm hoping they got something in common. The way that love attacks and then surrenders. The things I mean the most when I say her name. And if he ever speaks of me casually, I hope he does so carefully. 'Cause when you've loved somebody, everything's to blame. And I don't want her to ever feel ashamed. But all my best kept secrets are the ones I didn't know I had. So I couldn't even tell her if I wanted. That the way that she remembers me is not the way I really am. But I'm hoping they got something in common. I'm hoping they got something in common. I'm hoping they got something in common. So I feel like a man behind a camera who waits patiently for something he won't see. I need to stop giving suggestions and just illuminate the questions. That seems much more accurate to me. To keep the frame as wide as it can be. 'Cause all the love and friends and happiness that ever came my way revealed themselves the moments I stopped watching. 'Cause it's not faith that comes from miracles, but miracles that come from faith. And I know that they got something in common. I'm sure that they got something in common. I know that they got something in common.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was, listening to a lot of Dawes today in preparation for this and just realizing how soothing it is for times like this. Like it is, there's some music that I've been playing that I'm like, I just don't know if I can handle this today. And Dawes has just hit that sweet spot for me of like getting me through another day, another week starting here.
That really means a lot. Yeah, it's interesting how that works. Like, I'm not saying that too many people would agree with you. I don't know, but it's interesting as individuals, like what what we want to hear from right now and what we don't. It's kind of, we almost have no choice in the matter. It's like our brains tell us.
Yeah. So, are you finding this as a time where creative juices are flowing and you're writing more, or is this like there's just too much happening in the world right now, and you just need a break?
I mean, a couple things. One is that I'm very grateful for it, but I've gotten a little busy. I got asked to score a short film, which has been really fun. Never done that though. I barely know how to record anything, so it's been this real trial by fire, where what might have taken me a few days in a studio with guys who know what they're doing is taking me weeks and weeks by myself. But it is a learning process, so I'm grateful to have that. So that's kept me from writing. But the other thing, and I wonder if you'd agree, but I feel like if you were to tell me, like, Taylor, I need a song written by next Wednesday, I'd have it done. But if you said, like, so you're gonna have the next 6 weeks off, and we're not really sure, like, how, if that's gonna last longer, go ahead and write something. I think that in a way that would be more limiting. And I don't mean to make excuses, but it's really weird how well I tend to respond to deadlines, and how hard it is to really focus when the world turns into this like amorphous blob.
Yeah, I a lot of people are saying, oh, take this time, be creative, do all these things, and sometimes that pressure just feels like, no, we just take care of yourself a little bit, get through
Yeah.
this, and
Yeah, I think we all have this like be productive as possible disease, and it kicks in all the time. I mean, it'll be the kind of thing where I'll sit down with a book and be like, well, I could go take care of that, or take care of this, or make sure I get this to someone or whatever, and that's all important. But I feel like to give yourself some sort of line, whether it's weekends or post 5 o'clock or whatever it is, like to just cut that thinking out, because in a weird way, like, post quarantine or pre quarantine, if anybody can remember those days, like there was a delineation between, like, when you get home, you could like throw your keys on the table and kick your feet up and know that whatever it is you had to do that day, you already did. Whereas now, because we're stuck in our home, if there's these lines are blurred of like, how much should I be productive, how much should I devote to staying busy? And there have been days for us where it's very easy to just like, oh shit, it's been like 3 days and we haven't stopped. Like, whether it's something simple as like, washing the dogs, washing the cars, sending emails, doing videos, but it's eventually it's like, wow, we're like not taking advantage of this opportunity to actually also relax.
so you mentioned your wife's band earlier. For anybody not watching, that's Mandy Moore. You guys wrote a lot together for her last album, um, and you've been doing some of these kinds of things together through that. Has this been a neat time just to have your schedules at home and
Yeah,
like in
that
sync?
that's been amazing to get to hang out so much. I mean, like, everyone had these funny memes and warnings of like, well, the divorce rate in China went up right when everything opened up again, and all these like kind of ominous, all this ominous information. But we've had so much fun together every day. We've been able to, yeah, just, I mean, the videos help, and we just consider ourselves very lucky, and it is true with her schedule and with my touring schedule, the idea of having weeks on top of weeks of us hanging out with each other is something that doesn't happen. So that has been a real blessing for us.
Well, we're so honored to have you here today and have you playing some music for us. What are you going to play second for us?
I'll do Crack the Case. All right. I will do your interview, try to explain what I'm going through, give you something to read into in a million different ways. A sick version of telephone, Starts at the clip of the microphone. A game we thought we had all outgrown, but still everybody plays. Ignoring all of the remedies, believing all of the rumors, with their endless database. I want to sit with my enemies and say we should have done this sooner, while I look them in the face. Maybe that would crack the case. I got a friend who's been thinking about finally kicking her husband out. His second life as a talent scout finally got him caught. While she was throwing out all his clothes, she heard a voice from beyond the throes. Punish him for the life he chose, but forgive the past he did not. It's really hard to hate anyone when you know what they've lived through. And once they've given you a taste, she said, this is for you to overcome, but I will always love you. In her perfect state of grace. Maybe that would crack the case. So now that we're through with formalities, what is it you'd like to ask of me? I'll answer open and honestly, whatever that means. Finding out that we occupy somebody else's opposing side, on the banks of some great divide, two versions of a dream. Countless revisions of history, trying to tell us the future. Between each commercial break, I want to call off the cavalry, declare no winners or losers, and forgive our shared mistakes. You can pick the time and place. Maybe that will crack the case.
That's fantastic. And as you were playing that, I was just thinking, it's not just the music that's soothing that makes it feel like what I want to listen to right now, but the wrestling with these big questions of forgiveness and grace and where we are right now and where do we want to be when all of this is done. And so thank you for that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I've talked about that song on stage, I'll it's funny, I'll get some boos sometimes, but I'll say like, you know, this whole weird moment that we're in, and maybe, you know, this coronavirus is expedited, you know, whatever the process is of getting to where we need to get to, but maybe it's done some sort of unification, or hopefully will by the end of it all. But when I talk about it on stage, I've said like, this whole thing ends in forgiveness, this like weird divide that we're living within. And it's sort of like, it's going to end there whether you like it or not, and it's going to end there whether it's tomorrow or in 20 years from now. But that's how things go. And so, like, the sooner that we could wrap our head around what it takes to look at someone who, we disagree with, that we look at as, having an abysmal outlook towards the rest of the world, it still requires compassion and forgiveness and patience if you really want to, like, communicate with anybody. That's not to say that I know what I'm talking about. I mean, this song's, as much for me, it's not like I wrote this song coming from a place of, hey, I figured it out. It's more of me trying to talk myself off a ledge, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think we've all been on that ledge these last few years.
Yeah.
No, I love that you're wrestling with that and trying to figure what the end might look like or how we might get there. Because I don't know. As bad as things are right now, and as bad as they've been the last few years, I think it's maybe going to serve as a wake up call for some people and
So, I mean,
take
I
us to
think,
a different place.
yeah, it's already this cool thing of, you're hearing these stories of, like, people don't want to look at the Kardashians in their new cars right now. Like, no disrespect to them, but right now, like, anything that reminds us of, like, our class issues or celebrity and privilege, people are just like, you know what? That's not helpful. I'd rather see some people guiding me through their day to day, or what it takes to get groceries, or whatever it is. Like,
Yeah.
that thing I feel like is so much more important right now. And I really do hope, like you're saying, that shift might be a more long-term one, where we're interested a little bit less in these outrageous achievements of certain people, but we're more interested in more human questions and human connections.
Yeah, I have a friend who's starting a podcast today, and it's called The Great Reset. How, like,
Yeah.
how, not the new normal, but like, how do we come out of this not bringing back all the crap, but just bringing back what was working? And
Yeah, I
that's an
mean,
idea I like.
yeah, totally. And hopefully, yeah, I don't know where it starts. I mean, sometimes I look at social media as, like, um, what's given way to this inability to communicate. Like, it's like, well, I clap back on a tweet, so why don't I just clap back in person or something? Like, it's taught us how to respond to each other so disrespectfully. It's as if, like, if you came over to my house and, like, you left, like, your plate on the table when I put my plate in the sink, and I, like, yelled at you about it.
Yeah.
Like, it just wouldn't make sense. And the same goes for trying to communicate, like, serious opinions about, like, why someone else might believe someone else is living wrong or thinking wrong or whatever. It's like, you got to do that gently. And I'm hoping that if the problem started with social media, in my opinion, and maybe that's where it can be fixed too. Like, people are going to get tired of just getting so dang angry in a tweet or a comment section, and realize, like, there's damage being done, mostly to yourself.
Yeah. Well, one thing we like to ask everybody real quick here before we bring Lilly Hiatt onto the show: what is getting you through this time? What piece of art, whether that's a TV show, a book, an album, is sort of speaking to your soul, or just keeping you entertained and distracted right now?
Yeah, I mean, all those things. My wife and I, we've been watching old movies, and that's been so fun. Movies that I haven't watched for a while, and that we've always talked about. We watched La Ventura by Michelangelo Antonioni, which
Yeah.
it's so fun to see that again. I'm reading this book called You Bright and Risen Angels by William T. Volman. That has been a blast, and I feel like I wish I could, have an extra 5 hours a day to read it. And then music-wise, just the mighty Fiona Apple has
Uh-huh.
great, with the most incredible album. So that's been something that I've been very grateful for. And those Bob Dylan singles are just outrageously great.
Yeah, it's fun that all this stuff sort of just came out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, great, new Dylan, new
Yeah.
Fiona Apple.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to bring Lilly Hiatt back into the mix here. Lilly, are you there? Well, as we prepare to toast. Um, I've got my Belgian strong ale here.
It's see, you're on the East Coast. See, I'm on the West Coast, so I can't
That's right.
drink quite yet. So I just have my water.
Yeah, no, I have that advantage on so many of our guests. I'm like, yeah, my day is nearing the end here. It's 2:00 your time. We've lost Lilly there. She hopefully is reconnecting. But I want to hear more about old movie night. What else have you guys been watching?
Oh man, it's super. It's almost yeah. Some of your fans are gonna really roll their eyes at me right now. But we started off. We watched Jules and Jim first, which was so cool. We watched Brazil. We watched the Three Colors trilogy by Keith Loud. Yeah, that was so fun to see that again. I hadn't seen that since I was like 22 years old and very serious. So
I went back a few years ago and rewatched those, and
those held up. Those are incredible. Yeah. Because some stuff you watch is like I don't know, for me at least, like an early 20s, like pretentious snob, and hey, Lily's here.
There's Lily.
Yeah, some of your fans are gonna really roll their eyes at me right now, but
oh, you gotta turn off the phone. There we go. Hey Lily, how you doing?
First, I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're good.
Carry on. I was like, I got the password wrong. Sorry, Taylor, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem.
We're just talking old movies, but we're getting ready to do our toast.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And I love that I have Taylor Goldsmith and Lilly Hiatt on today. Y'all are awesome.
I know.
So,
it's cool.
I want to start the toast. We finally got the button working here for Music Cares, and it's just been fun seeing people anonymously or with their name donating while they're watching here. So thank you all who in the comments have been donating, and cheers to Music Cares and the amazing work that they do.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Cheers. So Taylor, who else should be toasting today?
I feel like we all know folks that are like working in hospitals right now. I have a lot of friends, and I have a lot of like even spouses of friends and that sort of thing that are nurses and doctors, and they're living in a completely different universe than I am right now. And I know that we all know this already, but yeah, I feel so indebted to them, and I always will. I've always obviously respected and appreciated the jobs that they do, but now more than ever, I'm so grateful and so blown away by the fact that they're literally saving the world right now.
Mm-hmm. All right, to the medical professionals around the world.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Lily, who else are we toasting?
Well, I'm with Taylor. I was thinking about my good friend Dave is a doctor. He's recovered from COVID-19. My friend Kate, who plays with me, her mom's a nurse. My friend Lincoln, who made my record with me, his dad's a doctor. So they are living in a different world, and I'm so impressed by their strength and being the pioneers in this situation. So toast to them, the med professionals.
All right, toast to them. Well, Taylor, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
So great to have you. And we got to keep it. You got to come back to Atlanta when all is said and done, because you got to make sure you hang on to that record of pace sessions, which I think you have.
Yeah, we will.
All right.
All right. Good to hang with you. Good to see you, Lily.
Bye, Taylor. You sounded great.
It'll be good to see you in person again sometime.
Yes, it will for sure. Looking forward to it.
All right.
That's it.
See you, man.
Bye.
Lily, welcome.
Hey, thank you. I'm so glad I got in. I must have been typing a number wrong.
Oh, no problem at all. So you are in Nashville right now?
I am. I'm in Nashville. At my house, of course. So.
All right. So, we've had a few folks from Nashville on, and I can't think of Nashville without thinking about the 1-2 punch that you guys just had with the tornadoes coming through right before all this started. I was there like 2 days prior to that. That was like the last trip I got to take, was seeing your wonderful city, and some of the places I went to were just gone 2 days later. Did that affect you or your family and friends there at all?
Yes, I mean, it did. I'm lucky in that I wasn't physically affected, but mentally, definitely traumatized from it, as I think all of the city has been, because it just took us by surprise and came out of nowhere. And I wasn't even in town for it, but I was on the phone with my boyfriend who was experiencing the weather and feeling really unnerved by the whole situation. And then, yeah, and it happened, and we still haven't really had the chance to recover from that. Although people jumped in right away to try to help best they could. But shortly after, this quarantine began. So
Yeah.
it's certainly been a really shaky time for Nashville. That's just a fact, but it's a positive city, so we'll bounce back from it all.
Well, and for you, that was right around the same time that Walking Proof, your fourth album, came out. What a weird time for an album release, and you'd be touring it right now and playing around in support of it.
Yeah.
What has the last 6 weeks been like for you?
Well, the last 6 weeks have been, there have been ups and downs, and they've been a little blurry, and I'm not even quite sure how to define the feeling of the last 6 weeks, because I think, like, for me, it takes me a while to process things happening around me, and things that happened a few weeks ago are just kind of hitting me now, and that's kind of how it goes. So, but I will say, it's been a really fun time to have things like this, and have all this fun stuff that I can kind of push out digitally, and that's cool. That's been something I've been hanging on to a lot and having fun with. So,
Well, that's great.
okay,
I'm glad to hear that. Well, we at Paste, and me particularly, loved Trinity Lane. It was a breakout album for you.
Thank you.
I love the new album. Can you tell us a little bit about the making of this record?
Yeah, well, I was actually thinking about this today. We started making it on Cinco de Mayo, which is coming up, and I made it with my band, and with Lincoln Parrish. He produced it. We made it at his house, and we just got together and worked for kind of in increments over the summer, and finished it up about into July, and then have been so excited to put it out for months and months. So it goes when you're making something you're proud of, and yeah, I made it in Nashville, so made it in the spring. So yeah, it's a good spring record, I think.
Yeah, I know. I think so too. And you had some fun guests on this record?
Yeah, I did. I had my friend Aaron Lee Tasjan on it, and my friend Luke Schneider played pedal steel on it, and Amanda Shires came and played fiddle and sang, and my dad came and sang on a song with me, which was cool. So,
That is very cool.
yeah.
So are you going to play us something from the new record today?
I will. I think I'm going to play the title track. I've kind of had it on my mind today. So.
Great.
Lord, release my hands that have joined our rock and roll band, and it's put me on the road. gets scary and words get heavy, girls get mean. I've seen dark shadows and black lounges, hearts just soaking in kerosene. I could tell you that it's easy, but that wouldn't be the truth. If you ever need to call me, well, you know there's walking proof.
Woo!
Thank you. It's nice to have clapping, you know.
The audience of one. Now, there's a lot more watching live here and checking in, saying hello, and
Nice.
saying, great to see you, Miss Lilly.
Oh, people are so sweet. Everybody's been so tender and sweet lately, I feel like, at least in my experience.
I feel like that too. I mean, there's not a lot of room for just meanness right now. Nobody can handle it. We're all too fragile.
I know, we just can't go there. And I loved what Taylor said too about kind of like our priorities lately have shifted, and we're not so interested in like the glitz and glamour of like, you know, some sort of celebrity lifestyle. We're like, we want some real stuff right now. We want to keep healthy and know what it takes to get to the next moment in time, like safely.
Yeah,
and
make
like,
sure that everybody's getting there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very cool thing that we're all, you know, it's just a level playing field in terms of like our emotional status right now.
Yeah, exactly. So are you able to keep in touch with friends and family? Do you feel like you're still connected there in Nashville? Do you feel like Nashville is sort of rallying around each other?
It's down a little. I do. Nashville's always incredible. You know, I'm so grateful for the community of friends and artists I know here. Luckily for me, my family is all here, so I don't feel too far from them. And I have been able to keep in touch. It's just been the last week I started to get a little like, I'm tired of not being able to hug people I love. You know, I'm not even a big hugger, but like I realize how important that touch is. And but you know, that's a good thing to remember and take with me in the future, and never take for granted again.
Yeah. No, I think the when we come out of this, the idea of like whether it's spring or summer or fall, it's going to feel like this spring of like all the stuff we missed, all the stuff that we want to celebrate again.
Yes.
But yeah, speaking of family, so you got to go into the studio with your dad. What was that like?
It was cool. We had a lot of fun, you know. We get along well, and I think like we were both maybe a little nervous at first because, you know, you're in the studio, you want to do a good job. And but once we kind of dropped the guard a little bit, it ended up being great, and like everybody had a blast that day. And you know, he's a professional, so he's gonna get in and do a great job and get out. You know, that's kind of how he does it. So
he's been in a few studios in his day.
Yeah, totally. He knows what he's doing. So no, but it was cool. That's something I realized. You know, not everybody gets to share with a parent, and I feel fortunate that we get those kind of moments, like recording together. You know, so.
Are you able to see him now, or are y'all keeping your social distance?
We've done some FaceTiming, and we've talked a lot. We've all stayed in touch in my family. You know, my brother, sister, mom, dad, and I. Yeah, but it's hard, you know. I would love to see them and be over there with all of them, and you know, as we all would love to gather with our whole families and hang out. But
I know. My mom turns 80 today, so happy birthday, Mom. I have to throw that out there.
Mom, that's
I know.
amazing.
It's killing me not to be up there in South Carolina and seeing her. And my daughter's birthday was yesterday, so it was like their collective 100th because she's 20.
Oh,
So
that's amazing. My
uh,
birthday was yesterday
I
too.
know.
So
I was about to say happy birthday to you.
thank you. I'm not trying to milk it or anything. I just
No.
love that April, the spring birthdays are fun, you know.
Yes, but I'm sure it's hard to have a birthday right now. It's like it's my birthday and I can't see all the people I love.
You know, it's weird. Yesterday, I realized why I'd seen so many kind of tweets about people on their birthdays and what they'd, felt. And I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I'm kind of like a low key, like, usually on my birthday, I play a show, which I would have been had all this not happened. I would have been in Dallas. But I was like, I'll be fine. I live a low key birthday. And I had a great day, at home. But by the end of the night, I had a reflective day and I reflected deeply. And, it is hard. I was like, I really wish I could see some of my friends right now and my family. But hey, we'll get back to it.
We
So,
will get back to it. Well, I'm
but
thankful to have you to talk to today. Having the show has been so great for me just to be able to connect to people every day and hear some wonderful music.
no,
Um,
it's cool. It's awesome you're doing it.
well, thank you for being here. So, one more question before I get into the next song. You said I would have been in Dallas. Do you have like a calendar that's reminding you where every day you would have been right now? Because I know that's hard.
Yes, and some of the stuff has been deleted. Most of it's been deleted, but there have been a few little, notifications to pop up. Or people that bought tickets that are like tweeting or Instagramming, like, I would have been at your show tonight, but, I'll just listen to the record instead. But it's all good. I mean, I am like a roll with it kind of person, and I'm just like, hey, things happen the way they're supposed to happen. So obviously I wasn't supposed to be in Texas this weekend. It didn't play out that way. I'll be there again, and yeah, so.
All right. Well, you're getting birthday wishes online here, and people continue to give to Music Care. So thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah. So what are you going to play second for us?
Um, I'm gonna play a good little let go song. It's called Candy Lunch. Sitting watching it rain, hoping I'm gonna be something. It's just like me. Think about what I went to watch my friend play, cruise the van down Broadway, and I'd rather go blind. Was playing on WXNA, and I pretended I was in a movie about my life. 'Cause nothing seems to go better when I grab on anything too tight, too tight. I can't count all the times I said I'd never show my cards, but you would. Why does every boy I meet try to tell me how to live or what to eat? I've always had a grip on it. I've always done my own weird thing. Sometimes that means I want candy for my lunch. 'Cause nothing seems to go better when I grab on anything too tight, too tight. I can't count all of the times I said I When I got back from that show, all I really wanted was to be alone. But my roomie was there. He's got a good heart. Never closes cabinets, and I just think it's sweet. 'Cause nothing seems to go better when I grab on anything too tight. I can't count all the times I said never show my cards, but you.
Woo! Oh, so fun.
So fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming and doing this. So, one thing that we ask everybody on our show is what is the piece of art or what different things, whether it's TV show, books, movies, are keeping you sane and entertained and feeding your soul, however?
Well, a few things. I've listened to a ton of records. I actually just listened to the new Brendan Benson album this morning, and
He was just on our show last week.
Oh, that's awesome! It put me in such a good mood, and I was like, I'm gonna be playing this a lot more. Yeah, I think it's so great, and it just made me feel light and happy, and I needed that this morning. And let's see, so of course the Fiona Apple record. Oh my gosh. And then I watched Waco, the series on Netflix. Kind of just took my head off. TV is a cool escapism, but for me, when I'm really wound up, it's hard for me to concentrate on it almost. So yeah, I have to wait till late at night. But yeah, I watched Waco. Started to pick up the book A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. Starting to read that. I've been all over the place, so reading, has been kind of tough. But I feel like the book is the ultimate escape, so I'm gonna get back into that.
It is. It's funny. I feel like we all should be reading way more than we are right now. But I've read one book, I think. So.
Yeah, it's hard to get. I read a lot on planes because I can just zone out. But yeah, I need to find that space, recreate that space back in my house. But yeah, a book. There's nothing like a book. So. Yeah.
It is funny. I think I'm going to have to start asking what besides the new Fiona Apple record, because that's everybody's answer.
Because it's so cool, and
it is.
I'm so impressed. Yeah. I also love the new Waxahachie record. I think that's it's a cool record. So, Strokes record, it's a good one. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming and doing this. This has been so much fun.
Thank you. I've had a blast.
And thank you to everybody who's listening. Thank you for all the happy birthday wishes to Lilly, and to all of the generosity to Music Cares, because so many artists right now are struggling, not being able to go out on the road, play music, and like so many industries that are getting just slammed right now, musicians are taking the brunt of this. So this has been so exciting to see now that we've got this button, just these little donations popping up in my window. This is fun.
That's exciting. And hey, happy birthday to your mom. I hope she has a beautiful, wonderful birthday.
We're all going to get on like one big happy one of these tonight. So it should be fun.
Awesome. That'll probably make all y'all's days. So.
All right. Thanks so much, Lilly.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye.